Imagine God seeing all this injustice. Imagine he's crying because everybody is lying to each other, distorting people's reality. We hear a lie. God wants to burn you forever in hell. That's a lie. God is not like that. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. This is the coveting commandment. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, his manservant or maidservant, his ox or donkey or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Why is this bad? This is a ridiculous idea, but would a man run off into the woods with a gun to hunt dinner if he knew that Jesus was showing up and delivering a meal at his front door? I don't know, maybe Jesus has a pizza or something. Hey, I'm here to see you later. You're off to go look for something that God has already provided for you, and you're setting your eyes on that instead. We thrive when we realize that God, this is the truth, we thrive when we realize that God provides for us. Our worries don't imprison us. God really wants to provide for us what we need and give us blessings. And still we try to look for something that we think might be better than what he has in mind. We don't have to also, our neighbors don't have to worry about us trying to steal their God-given gifts if we're coveting. So we're used to sinning here on this earth. We're used to it. But each sin is a serious flaw in the way things were designed. And each time we do it, we're taking a step back from God. And without his holy embrace, we die. It's not something that can be helped. Separate from God, we die. And sinning is separating ourselves from God. It's our choice. In Revelation 12:17, it said, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. This is talking about a generation, a group of people in the last minutes of Earth's history. And what is one of their defining characteristics? It says, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. That means you love the Ten Commandments and you understand the gospel. You understand that even though the Ten Commandments have condemned you and pointed out your sin, that you have been replaced. Your necessary death, the death that you deserve, is taken away from you, and Jesus is put in your place. That is beautiful. And we don't deserve that, but that's the kind of God that we serve. That's the kind of God that loves us and that we have the privilege of loving back. The Ten Commandments were scribed by God. Some people say, man, I don't need to worship on the Sabbath. It's not written in stone. But they don't realize how ironic that is. The Ten Commandments were written in stone. This was before Moses even began to record history on scrolls. The Bible's first scribe was God himself. The first words of I don't even have my Bible up here. What's wrong with me? The first words of the Bible that were ever written down were written by God himself. And they're in the Bible today. We have them. Those are treasures for us. So we looked at all these things in the ark, and what did they all have in common? They were all special objects produced by God himself. God's hands touched each of these things. He created the manna. He brought life back into Aaron's staff, and he cut the Ten Commandments with his own fingers. They all say remember. They help us to remember that God's our leader, that he rescues us and provides for us, that he'll pull us out of this spiritual Egypt. He'll pull us out of this world and give us heaven. They teach us the best way to live. Can I have the band start coming up? God wants us to be healthy spiritually, mentally, and physically. He wants us to be able to spend time with him, quality time. He wants us to be unworried. He wants us to be able to have rest. And he wants us to not die. He wants us to be able to live forever. And the Ten Commandments provide for all of this. Remember I said you feel condemned when you hear these 10 Commandments? Here's the good news, guys. God sent his Son in a miraculous way to be born from somebody who had not been with any other man. Jesus was born and he lived his life in perfection. Even as a child, Jesus didn't roll his eyes at his brothers as they taunted him. Every moment of his life was spent in perfect purity. That is amazing. How can you do that? It's because he was connected to his Father. It's because, like we can be connected to God, it's because he had the character of God. The God that we serve never breaks his own commandments. If you have any questions, you can come and talk to me afterward. But I want to encourage you right now to desire the love of God. This is a visual object lesson that I'm going to give you right now so that you can remember what these 10 commandments are all about. Frequently, they're shaped like this. And they make a heart when you hold them like this. So I want you to hold the commandments like this in your heart from now on. Thank you.